So I first got interested in virtual reality 25 years ago when I was a PhD student, and we were really interested in why some children have problems interacting with the physical world, but it's quite difficult to do experiments in the physical world because the physical world obeys Newtonian mechanics. So what we did is invested in a large virtual reality system, very expensive piece of equipment. A Medical Research Council supported us in buying that piece of equipment. Unfortunately, what we found is that the virtual reality system caused people to have sore eyes and headaches, and so we ended up doing research into why people got sore eyes and headaches, and we were unable at that stage to use the technology to address the questions we were interested in. Then I came to Leeds and found that actually the virtual reality technology was starting to take off again, and so have become very excited at the prospect of using the technology for what I wanted to do 25 years ago. Well, Born in Bradford is just a fantastic research project. It's based in Bradford, which we like to think of as the city of research. And the study is following the lives of 13,500 children. And our goal is to understand what factors influence a child's outcome. So we really want children to grow up with good physical health, with good mental health. We want them to have social, emotional well-being, and we want them to get good grades, a good educational attainment, and we ultimately want them to be able to get good sort of jobs. So we're interested in what are the factors that ultimately influence a child's outcome. And the reason that we want to know what factors influence the child's outcome is so that we can intervene and improve things for children so that all children have the possibility of reaching their potential. We're testing 20,000 children right now, so the logistics of these studies, as you can imagine, are great. And but the participants in the study, all the families, the community, the children themselves, are so enthusiastic and so wanting to contribute to our understanding of what makes for successful childhood development that it's just a joy to run the project. So you can imagine that we're looking at every aspect of the sort of children's lives. So the sort of studies already made really fundamental contributions to our understanding. One of the things that we're really excited about is our identification of or our ability to detect children who have got movement problems. And one of the things that we're finding is that movement problems really have a profound impact upon the children's opportunities in life. So one of the things that we're doing is intervening. We're offering therapy to children in order to help them in tasks such as sort of handwriting. We think that this will make a big sort of difference to their ultimate outcome in life. Things we really are interested in doing is looking at how children use information to control their actions. And what virtual reality allows us to do is set up different virtual worlds, and we can then see how children interact with those virtual worlds. And because those virtual worlds don't need to obey the normal rules of the physical world, then we can actually manipulate the information that children are using to carry out particular actions. So for example, we might want to look at what it is that allows a child to catch a moving ball. Now, if we do that in the real world, balls behave in a particular way. If it's a computer-generated ball, we can have it behaving any way we want. And that allows us then to start exploring how a child reaches out to catch a ball. And by understanding that, we can start to understand why some children have difficulty in these type of tasks. And then that allows us to start intervening and helping children to carry out tasks such as catching a ball. And if children can throw balls and catch balls, that's more likely to encourage them to participate in ball sports, which means that then they're going to be more active, and hopefully we can start decreasing obesity and other problems. It's all about improving the children's sort of quality of life. So this is really work that we hope will benefit many future sort of generations of children born not just in Bradford but through cities and throughout the whole of the sort of UK, but also more globally, so that we can really understand how we can support children during those critical early years in order that they fulfil their potential. Leeds is just so exciting right now for all of this virtual reality research. So there's all kinds of exciting aspects of this. So we have medical sort of students who are using virtual reality to hone their skills. We're working with lots of teams of surgeons who are using virtual reality to prepare for an operation and also to practice operations in a virtual world with a virtual sort of person rather than practicing in the real world on a real person. And that's just one example. We're also using virtual reality to design cities. So we have a fantastic initiative within the University of Leeds called Virtuosity. And what the Virtuosity team are doing are using these immersive sort of technologies to see how we can set up cities, to encourage people to be able to walk, to encourage more sort of cyclists, to encourage driving behaviours that will actually decrease pollution. Then we have a National Robotics Centre here at Leeds, and the Robotics Centre is looking at ways that we can use robots to help support people who perhaps had a stroke. And again, sort of virtual reality gives us very powerful tools that are allowing people to interact with those sort of robots in a meaningful and interesting way. So you can sort of see that sort of virtual reality is just really impacting on all these sort of different sort of spheres. So it's a very, very exciting time for us within the research sort of field because of this new burgeoning technology. So we think virtual reality is the next disruptive technology, and we're pretty convinced that it's going to change the way we interact with computers, and that's good. I think the current way we interact with computers is not healthy, so I end up with a sore neck and sore shoulders and a sore back because I'm hunched over my desktop PC, sort of banging my sort of fingers into some keyboard. And virtual reality offers much more naturalistic ways of interacting with visual displays. So one of our big hopes is that we can actually allow people to interact with computers in a way that actually doesn't cause back pain, doesn't cause shoulder pain. And we're also hoping that it will set up ways that people can interact with sort of visual displays which are more comfortable on their eyes. So we're really sort of seeing this as sort of something which is going to change the whole space in which we work. One of the problems that we have right now, again, is we're very sedentary, so we sit down. The virtual reality systems will allow us to work on our computers while moving around our work environment. So we're really sort of seeing it change every aspect of our lives. All new technology has potential issues. I think what's exciting about virtual reality is that we've identified a lot of these problems up front, and we've got great engineers and we've got great computer scientists who can actually engineer these problems out of the systems. And if we can engineer the problems out of the system early, then this actually might be one of the few examples where a technology has been introduced where we've met the potential problems up front and we can actually circumvent those problems. So I'm actually excited about the impact of this technology to massively improve our health. So there are concerns that if we just roll out the technology without taking into account any possible sort of side effects, we might have some difficulties. But we know what potential side effects are. We can deal with those sort of side effects, in which case then we've got a technology that could actually help us live healthier lives. So we're sat here at the University of Leeds, where of course we're passionate about teaching, we're passionate about education, and I think virtual reality will change the way that we educate our students. Why should I sort of stand up teaching brain anatomy using a flat two-dimensional screen when we can have students who can actually go in and explore the brain in 3 dimensions, pull the brain apart, see which different bits of the brain connect to each other. So just thinking about things in terms of educational content, I think this will sort of change the world. A couple of weeks ago we were in schools teaching children about virtual reality and allowing them to go back to Roman times and see what the world looked like in Roman times. They could explore jungles with dinosaurs in it, they could fly around the solar system. So it just offers so much power in terms of communicating ideas and communicating information to school children, to undergraduate students, to postgraduate students. So I really think it's going to transform the way that we deliver education. But it's also got a huge sort of benefits in terms of the way that we can deliver healthcare messages. So we have colleagues at the University of Leeds who work across the Punjab and are desperately trying to get health messages out across these remote regions. Now, there are few computers in these areas, but almost every other person has a smartphone. And so there are very, very cheap systems that can be used with a smartphone to turn it into a virtual reality system that will allow far more powerful messages about antimicrobial resistance or the importance of finishing a course of sort of antibiotics. So we're really excited about the potential to use virtual reality technology to get health messages out to low and medium income countries and help reduce some of the global inequalities that currently exist. So there's a number of driving studies that are happening across the university, and they're using the power of simulation. The problem about understanding what information is that people use to brake or to steer around a corner is difficult when you have people driving real cars, because there are real safety issues. Of course, the power of virtual reality is you can have people driving around virtual cities, around virtual worlds, and that allows us to have a look at what type of factors cause people to brake too late, or steer too early, or steer too late. And so we've got world-class researchers that are addressing these type of issues, helping us understand what are the factors that allow people to drive safely. And that information is then being fed back into automatic driving cars, so those smart cars that we're starting to hear lots about. So the use of virtual reality in this domain is very exciting, very, very powerful. So we've got a cultural institute, a newly formed cultural institute, who have brought together world-class artists who are really excited about using virtual reality to express different sort of cultural ideas. And the whole arts and humanities area of the university are very, very excited about the potential for immersive sort of technologies, about the potential that exists to use virtualities in new and innovative ways to allow sort of expression of human sort of spirit and also the transmission of cultural information. One example is lots of museums have got lots and lots of pictures or artifacts, but they only have a limited amount of physical space. So one of the advantages of immersive technologies is that you can go into a museum and it can show you large numbers of the artifacts and pictures that exist through a virtual display. So rather than having to physically put out these items, it can just give you a virtual representation. Or it might be an augmented reality system where you're looking at a piece of art and it will be able to give you a narrative about the artist and show you some complementary pieces of the work. So it will really enhance those cultural experiences. So virtual reality is having an enormous economic sort of impact. So the expected spend, investment in virtual reality over the next couple of years, I think is estimated at £20 billion around the world. So it's absolutely enormous. It's going to have big, big economic ramifications. And that's again why the university is so keen that we're really at the sort of vanguard of this initiative, at the vanguard of this technological revolution. But we also need to consider the social impact of these new technologies. And so we have lots of social scientists within the university who are really interested to understand how the development of these systems is going to produce social change, in order that we can understand what potential problems may occur and then mitigate against those issues.